Hi, everybody. This is Barb Dunn and Dr. Tami, and we are To Lend or Not to Lend podcast. And today we have a special guest, Kathleen Petty, and we want to welcome you to tell us a little bit about yourself. So go for it. Who is Kathleen Petty?
Who is Kathleen Petty? Kathleen Petty is a lender, a real estate investor. I do bird dog. I wholesale. Um, I'm working on my Magnolia Farms, which is my Mount Everest project, a place for those that have developmental disabilities to live, work, and thrive in a. So, I'm creating a place for those that have developmental disabilities, and because there's just nothing here, and like nothing. so, and Also the other things, I'm a mother. I have two children. One's 26 and the other one's 18. Well, okay, he'll be 18 Sunday. But anyways, um, we live in Texarkana, Texas, and I have lived here 4 years. And I was a school teacher. I have a master's in education, and I was a truck driver too. And what else do you want to know?
Well, what kind of things do you lend on, and what's the amount that you lend?
so
What
we
area
I,
is it?
it really
Multifamily, RV parks, or
it it really
where?
depends on like the needs of the client. So I work with a couple of different lenders, like first position lenders, and I have people like Gators and other connections that I work with. I also have some people that I work with outside of the community that, I figure if we have a whole plethora of options, then you can make better choices. The one thing is I try to inform those that do lend with me that, what their options are, because like one of the lending companies doesn't do co-living,
Mm.
and the other
Ah,
company the other company that I lend with, all they want us focusing on DSCR loans mostly. So it just depends on what your need, and it depends on your credit score. It depends on your project. It depends on like just different things. I can get money for most projects and most people and most things. Um, I do have a couple of them. I have one lender that outside of the community who will lend 100%. However, here's the however, they're going to charge points and
Mm.
probably more points to get that loan. So I tell that and keep that in mind for people, or let them think about that. And then I have access to a business loan. And what does that look like? Well, you need to have 650 credit score, and they do a hard pull on your credit. The rest of them are more soft pulls, and unless a gator says okay, it's going to be something else. Um, but I do. He does a hard pull, but you can get up to 160 grand, and you can use that for on any business thing. You can use it for an EMD. You can use it for a down payment. You can use it for going to squat up if you want to go to squat up. But no, there are interests in the terms and conditions of that loan. So, and that's one of the things I think should be really considered too when you're loan lending. Look, you got to make sure your numbers are right. Is it going to
Mhm.
work? Is it going to be worth the time and effort? I just did a deal. We had to let a deal go last month. Me and another owners club member, we had to let it go because in the end they were making only a dollar a month.
ooh,
That's not worth anyone's time at all. At
mm,
all. And this real estate, she found me. This real estate agent found me, and she was like, "Let's just do this." Or what? And it's like, okay, we tried, but nobody wanted it because it was priced too high. So, and then there's the other thing, and this is something I've been thinking that and wanting to do the last few days or so is when you come to lend or you want some money from a lender, and this is across the board, I don't care who it is, if it's with me or someone else, you need to have your information organized.
Yes.
And the reason I say that is because I worked with somebody in Sub 2, a lender, and somebody wanted a loan. And so they just sent all the files and there wasn't any definition about what was which. It was kind of like, I like to liken it to, you have a family heirloom box, and it has, your family history in it. It has like little nooks and gifts and things that, that's been passed down to generations. And it's all in this box. It's all there. But there's no labeling of who is who, where it's at, what it's about, and why it was special. There's nothing. It's just kind of been thrown to you. And what's your first reaction? You're going to go, okay, where do I start? And that is exactly how the other people, the other ones that do the underwriting, are going to look at it. If you don't have things organized, it holds up your loan. If you can be all ready to go and have all the information that you need to get your loan done and have it all in an organized fashion, then you're going to get an answer a lot quicker, because they can go through the information there and get it done.
Nice. Who do you do all your own underwriting, or you someone else help you with that?
No, I have others that do the underwriting. What I'll do is I'll go over it and I'll look at the deal, and let's see if it is a deal. And if it is a deal, then we'll promote it further. And then I send it to what I call the back office, and they're the ones that do the processing for the loan and look at it and really vet you. They'll be looking at, your credit score for one. That's one thing they want to see. The appraisal for the property, whatever it is, even if it's something funky, they'll want to see how much is it worth. They'll want to see, what are you doing with the project?
Right.
If it's a DSCR loan, they want to know, first of all, obviously how much the property is worth, but they want to know how much cash flow is going to come out of that. If there's not enough cash flow to merit the loan, then they're not going to give you a loan.
Right. It's not secured.
Yeah, it isn't secured. And the other thing that I have found is, and this is a little unfortunate, but in my view, but it is the rules. So say, for instance, you got a smoking deal. Like, you were basically almost given the property, basically. And so you take it to the loan officer, or you take it to the processors. They look at you and go, well, there isn't any meat in the bones. I said, but they need to do a rehab or whatever on it. And so they need to have a loan on it. So I've had someone say, no, sorry, can't do that. We can't do the loan because what you bought it for is a lot lower than what I'm able to give you a proper loan for. So it's not worth the loan. So you have to take that in consideration. And then, private money lenders at that point are probably your best bet, because they might see the value in what you're doing and be able to get it done. But that's not always a sure thing. And the other thing that we have to really think about is private money lenders will lend based on a relationship of trust with the person with whom they're lending. And it should be that way. They want to know who you are, what you're doing. And, I talked to a private money lender the other day, and he said, you know what? I've been burned really badly. Mm-hmm. And I'm not going to get my money back for 5 years. And it's just the way that, the way the deal is structured, which also makes a big deal. But he says, he said, I'm really leery. I have to be super picky about who I lend out to because of this situation. And so, my heart goes out to him, because I wouldn't want to be in his shoes. But I think we also have to think of that if we're going to a private money lender, that you should have some sort of relationship with them. They need to know who you are, what you represent, and what your integrity more than reputation. Reputation is okay. It's what people think of you. It's the preface for the integrity. So what's your integrity? So they need to know you before they're going to just, here's $1 million, So, any other questions can I answer for you?
Well, you kind of covered what you do with the loans, but you lend to any, it doesn't matter. It can be co-living. It can be RV
Well,
parks. Is there a lane that you stay in?
here's, you have to have an LLC. We're not lending to Joe Schmo, or we're not doing the mortgage thing. Okay. We are doing investing in real estate money. And, so we will lend to, the two companies that I mainly focus on and work with. One will do it for inexperienced lenders or the borrowers, but you do need to come with, depending on just different aspects of the way the deal structure, your experience, and how much money it come. But usually you need to come down with at least 20% down with that lender.
Okay.
At least 20%. If if your credit score is good and it's a good deal, and you have maybe a little more experience, you have higher, you'll have. Well, I should say, let's back up. It's 70 to 80%. So you might get a lower one the first time, but as you build credit and credentials with them, or whoever it is, then they will reconsider. Like, you'll get a better rate with your credit score. And of course, someone with an 850, or no, not that high. Let's do 775 or something, is going to get a lot better rate than with someone with a 680. And that is, they do with this company, they do prefer a 680. However, they will also loan for, if you have a 600, they will not do below 600, period. No, won't do, but they will do down to 600, and they kind of look at it. So maybe you have a few properties or a few deals that you've done, and that's kind of lowered your credit score, but they look at everything that way. The other company, if you don't have better than 680, you're not lending. And if you don't have someone to JV with you, they probably won't lend with you. They were looking for more experienced lenders. And I guess you could submit it, but that one I wouldn't hold my breath on a lot. Like, you have to have some money in the bank. I guess they both want skin in the game, and that's fair. That's fair. So,
Yeah.
There's a lot of people in our community, Kathleen, that are looking to buy RV parks and mobile home parks and storage facilities. Is that something that your lenders have in the past or are willing to look at?
They're willing to look at the RV parks, and at least for one of them, we'll look at RV parks and storage units. Which would be the one that you don't need as much experience. I think it would depend on the deal.
Sure.
For the other one, but the only one, as far as I know, for the other lender, the only one with the one that wants experience and stuff like that, the only one thing they think they will not lend on is co-living. And the reason why, let me be frank with you, because I'm like, well, because sometimes in co-livings, because just as a big house, it doesn't really merit like the zoning rules, and neighbors can get ticked off if there's an HOA, which we hope there isn't, but neighbors can get really ticked off at the amount of activity, whatever else. And we hope for the best, right, when we do this, but it's not foolproof. So
right.
Very true. Very true. But I know in most co-living parameters, the people that I like Bird Dog with, it's no HOA. Absolutely not, so that you're not having to deal with that. And then make sure that there is enough parking, that they can manage that so that there's less of that problem with the neighbors being upset. But yeah, I can understand why there is that risk.
Yeah. I mean, I think it also makes a difference on who is renting it too, because
how did you make the switch from school teacher to real estate?
Oh, that's kind of a long story, but my last year that I taught school, I was teaching Spanish and music. and K through 12 music and high school Spanish. And I had worked very hard. I had to create curriculum for Spanish because the curriculum we had was not that great, and for music actually. And they were making cuts. I was living in Arizona at the time, and they were making cuts to the Arizona budget. They decided, okay, this next year we're going to cut teacher pay by 10%, and the next year's going to be 10, and the next year's going to be 10. I'm like, oh wow, that's 30% in 3 years. That's a lot of cuts there. Yeah. And on top of that, I had an administrator. Well, there was some politics there. Let's just leave it at that. There were some politics there that I just went, you know what? I'm just done. I want to work. It just didn't seem like it was a supportive team. I guess that would be one of the things. And, I'm just done. And when I said I was done, I mean, I was really done. I have not returned since 2010. So it's been over 15 years. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I guess I could go back if I really wanted to, because I'd be in high demand. But the point of it is the ROI, return on investment. I have no problem helping people. In fact, I help people all the time for free. And I don't mind helping someone. It's just how I am. However, when you have to earn a living and you have a master's degree, and I'll just tell you, and they offer you $38,000 for a master's degree to teach at their school, and I am working 6 days a week from like 6 o'clock in the morning until like 10 o'clock at night. No, I'm done. I'm not going to do it. And then, some of the other things, people don't realize I'm just being nice. Be nice. People don't realize how much work we do during the summers. They're like, oh yeah, but you get your summers off. Well, no, not really, because they want you to go to more education on the university level and take classes, which for about 5 weeks as you usually take. And then you have to get all your curriculum ready and prepared for the next year. And there's very little time. And then I had toddlers at the time. I had a toddler and a 9-year-old. I'm just done. My kids need me more than
right.
So that was
what made you decide to get into real estate then, Kathleen? What made you even think about getting into real estate?
Kind of tried to do real estate. I tried to do it back in 2003, and I signed up for Laura Langmayer's program, and I got a coach, and I got the lower tier, meaning like I didn't want to pay 10 grand for top tier. And $10,000 is a whole boatload of money at that time, boatload of money. So, I decided to go the lower tier, and in the process of trying to do this, my coach says, well, I can't tell you if it's a good deal or not. That's written in my contract. So that didn't go so well. So, and I'm just making a long story short, but it just didn't go so well. So then years later, I kind of looked at it. I kind of wanted to do some things, but I was focusing on my children, which is, and my family, where I needed to focus my time. They really needed me at that time. And the last couple of years, I invested in Cameron Demlap's stuff, and I had like the buyer's list and the seller's list, and that I came so close a couple of times, so close, except one, the people I tried to partner up with, they fizzled out with me at the last minute, and then the people are like, well, this is a scam, this is a big scam. So, all right, so and I tried Cody Sperber's stuff, and that didn't work, and I tried to do some on my own, and that didn't work, because I thought, well, I keep hitting my head against the wall when it comes to lending. I did the math, and it looks good. It just I'm not getting the lenders, and there's a huge story behind that. But so then I saw Pace, and I thought, I watched his stuff online, and I thought, this is a good thing. I think I'll do it. And we were in the middle of selling our property for the property we had here, and then we we didn't get as much as we wanted it for it, but that's another story. But with the proceeds of that property, we were going to part of it, we're going to invest it in real estate. And so we did eventually. I'm learning, and I'm grateful to be with the people that I've been with. I've been very fortunate, very blessed to know quite a few people in the community. I mean, there's 17,000. I can't know them all, but for the people I've worked with, I'm grateful. I'm grateful for the it's with me and the things I've learned, because
Nice.
some of them, you know, I kind of relate with you, Tami, in the sense that, you know, you worked really hard, and it's taking you some time, and that's what's going on with me. It's just taking some time. Got to find the right deal that will make it to the finish line. So yeah.
Exactly. How did you find your lenders?
You know, that's very
Yeah.
interesting.
Good. Yeah.
Do you know JJ Azizian?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm with his new capital group, and I
Oh.
just went to their networking and
Uh-huh.
learned to network, and I got to know JJ, and he got to know me a little bit, and so now they've Brian Fine and Mark Abramovich and Bob McIntosh have Always Capital as a lending company, and that's the one that they want a little bit more experience. I mean, I guess you don't have to, but they would like more, like they really, really would like more experience, and they want to with them. And I'm going to stress this. I need to really stress it. If you've ever been to JJ's group for networking, he says if you don't, your net worth is your network, and he
Yes.
wants to get to know you. He says, you build relationships. Well, he didn't say build a relationship of trust, but what he did say is, you need to get to know people. You do business with the ones
Yes.
that you know and you trust, and I call it relationships of trust. That's my thing, because that's what you're building. You're building a relationship of trust, and so those are the people that you want to lend to. Those are the people you want to do business with. Those are the people that, hey, this worked out really good this time. Let's try again. You know, you feel comfortable with them. They become friends eventually, and so I'm great. That's really important, and I'm grateful to know JJ. I go to some of the Zooms, and the other one kind of came up. I think they kind of found me, or like there was I don't remember how I found them, but I found them, and I went to their Zoom meeting, and I said, we're looking for people because we're starting a new capital group together. One already has a broker's license, and she is experienced. The other one's really experienced, and so I went with them, and so it wasn't really something I originally was planning to do, as lending, but you know, as a wise person once told me, do what you want, plan your life, live, have fun, and if a fork in the road comes, turn. So I turned. So
Thank you so much, Kathleen. This has been great.
yeah, I just I love connecting, and you know, you ask me anytime, would you like to connect? I'm like, sure, I'll be more than happy to connect with you. I'm just that way.
So that's our
Nice.
question. How do people connect with you? You want to drop your information so that they can.
Well, there's a couple ways. A ringy dingy always works. My phone number is 435-669-6752, and my email address, because I was a travel agent before I joined Sub2, is yowzatravel@gmail.com. I'll spell that for you. It's YOWZA travel, all one word, @gmail.com, because nobody goes to an ugly beach. No, what do they say? Yes. Right? Yeah.
Nice.
Or ugly mountains. Some people say ugly mountains because some people don't like the beach. Nobody says that's an ugly mountain. You look at them like, are you crazy? It's a beautiful mountain. It's a wonderful thing to do. So I do have that adventurous spirit, and so I think that's why I probably named it
That's
Yowza.
that name. That's fun.
Nice.
Yes.
Well, great. Well, what we'd like to do too is check back in with people and invite them back after about 6 months or so. And hopefully that would be
Okay.
something you'd be available for, and just see how it's going.
Thank
So-
you. I appreciate that.
I'd love to invite you back if that's,
Thank
if we
you.
don't reach out to you, reach out to us so we can connect again. Yeah.
Okay.